Good morning, everyone. We welcome you back to our page Career Development Institute, Community Health and Nutrition. We are continuing with Lecture 2 of Community Health and Sustainable Development. Course outline remains same as in Lecture 1. Module outline remains same. Lesson focus: measuring development, continuation, child mortality, education, wealth and distribution, poverty level. Country classification will look at human development, income measure, world and regional classification. Thirdly, we'll look at nutrition, health and development, then the scope of community development. Module outline remains same. Outline from Lecture 1. Community development never ends. Particular development initiatives have a life cycle of initiation, expansion, maturity, and conclusion. Communities need to constantly be seeking to expand their resource base and their ability to manage change. The outcome of successful community development is communities that are more able to generate wealth, maintain or improve their competitive positions, preserve and use community resources, and adapt to change. Measuring development will continue with the third view, which is child mortality. Survival rates for children is less than 1 year are among the most sensitive indicators of human well-being. Being born on the wrong street in the global village carries with it a large survival risk. However, survival perspectives are improving in all regions, although it is slow. Global divergence in child death. The chart below explains more. Measuring development, the fourth view, which is education, is that progress in education is critical for human development in its own right, and because of the link to health, equity and empowerment. Net primary enrollment ratio have increased across the developing world. Set against this good news, the bad news is that 115 million children are still out of school, and some 62 million of them are girls. Illiteracy patterns today are legacy of education deficits of the past. Since 1990, adult literacy rates have risen from 75% to 82%, reducing the number of illiterate people in the world by 100 million. In Cameroon, primary completion rate is 79%, while the ratio of girls to boys enrollment in primary and secondary education is 85%. Adult literacy against GDP per person. The diagram below explains better. The fifth view of measurement development is wealth distribution and poverty level. It indicates the percentage of the people living below the poverty level. It also highlights equity issues with respect to gender, literacy and unemployment, disparities between male and female, and priority sector of government spending. The poorest 20% of the world's people, roughly corresponding to the population living on less than $1 a day, account for 1.5% of world income. The poorest 40%, corresponding to the $2 a day poverty threshold, account for 5% of the world income. 9 of 10 people in high-income organizations for economic cooperation and development countries are in the top 20% of the global income distribution. At the other end of the scale, 1 person in 2 in sub-Saharan Africa is in the poorest 20%, and the region's share of people in the bottom 20% has more than doubled since 1980. Average income for the world as a whole is $5,533 PPP, but 80% of the world lives in less than this average. Global inequality is captured in the large gap between average and median income. The world's 500 richest people have an income more than $100 billion, not taking into account asset wealth that exceeds the combined income of the poorest 416 million. Wealth accumulation at the top of the global income distribution has been more impressive than poverty reduction at the bottom. Country classifications. Countries are classified in 4 ways. A. By human development level. B. By income. C. By major wealth aggregates. And D. By region. These designations do not necessarily express a judgment about the development stage of a particular country or area. The term country refers to territories or areas. Human Development Classification, that is A. All countries included in the HDI are classified into one of 3 clusters by achievement in human development: high human development, medium human development, low human development. Income classification. All countries are grouped by income using World Bank classification, that is the first being high income, second medium income, and the last low income. C. Major world classification. The 3 global groups are developing countries, Central and Eastern Europe, and the CIS, that's the Community Wealth of Independent States, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This represents the universe of 194 countries to minus 192 UN member countries plus Hong Kong, China, and the occupied Palestinian territories. D. Regional classification. Developing countries are further classified into regions. We have Arab states, East Asia and the Pacific, Latin America and the Caribbean including Mexico, South Asia, Southern Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa. These regional classifications are consistent with the Regional Bureau of the UNDP. Med have a high standard of living and a large GDP, while Let have a low standard of living and much lower GDP. Most of the southern hemisphere is less developed, while countries in northern hemisphere are more developed. These constitute the global south and global north respectively. World country classification, we can see the map below. Country classification. Over the last 50 years, the notion of development has been focused on the aspect of making countries to conform more closely to the model in the global north based on industrialization and the intensive exploitation of resources and consumption of natural resources. Nutrition, health, and development. Everybody needs a variety of foods which contain enough different nutrients to keep them alive and healthy. Just as a healthy plant or anything else will grow better in rich soil and good conditions. This means that nutrition is a foundation for health and development. Better nutrition means stronger immune systems, less illness, and better health for people of all ages. Healthy children learn better and grow better. Healthy people are stronger, more productive, and better able to break cycles of poverty and realize their full potentials. Nutrition, health, and development chart explains better. Nutrition, health, and development. We continue by saying that the relationship between nutrition, health, and development is best described using the SDGs as shown below. The scope of community development. Development involves change, improvement, and vitality, a directed attempt to improve participation, flexibility, equity, attitudes, the function of institutions, and the quality of life. It is the creation of wealth meaning the things people value, not just dollars. Do well to take note of this. Do well to take the exam for this module in order to mark your way up the ladder of success towards qualifying for a professional diploma in community health and nutrition. So kindly contact the administration of CHN222 or contact the CHN222 Cameroon office in case of any challenge with this. Good luck in your career pursuit. God bless you. Stay tuned for other lectures.